Hello, welcome Moon Griffon Show on the road again in beautiful Alexandria, Louisiana, with conjunction with our good friends at Central Broadcasting, KSYL 970 AM. Check them out on the website. Great to be here again. Hixson Autoplex is where we're located today. Dallas is on the phone, but he's got a lot to say today about business and business climate and things we've talked about here for years. He's watching it happen now, and we're watching the legislature right now. To see what they're going to do. The governor has lost control down there, no doubt about it. But anyway, we'll get to all that as the program unfolds. Three great locations, Monroe, Leesville, and, of course, Alexandria, Louisiana. HixsonHasIt.com. HixsonHasIt.com to check out all your latest and greatest on vehicles. And Dallas and them, they got a really good staff, and they'll get you taken care of. All righty. And I'll bring him in a minute. He can tell you more about the business climate. As you know, GDP is down 2 years in a row in this state as the governor keeps pounding us. The governor keeps pounding us on new taxes. He just continues to pound us on new taxes. The legislature, on the other hand, is trying to change some things, but they also are coming back with a new tax plan. And I'll get to that in just a little bit. But Dallas is joined. First of all, good morning, man.
Good morning. You didn't tell me we were on the air.
Well, I mean, you look like you was a busy man.
I was on the phone, but, man, look, this is important.
I saw one phone call after another come in. You'd hang it up, start to walk out, and ring again. So I said, I better leave Dallas alone. Anyway, great to see you, man.
Hey, good to see you, too. Yeah, thank you.
A couple things, what we're watching in the state right now, Dallas, and I want people to know, you've talked about this, not the last two shows,
years.
Not the last 2 months, really for the last 2 to 3 years.
Yes.
And your concerns about us, and I'm going back and using basically your own words, we're right at the breaking point. Now I wonder if we've crossed the breaking point.
I told you we have.
Yeah.
We definitely have. And what shows is, you look at the AP report from a couple of weeks ago, matter of fact,
pull it out just a little bit.
Pull it out a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, 3.
I don't want Brandon to hear too much of you, but go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know. See, Brandon, I'm waiting on it. See, Brandon will compliment me here in a minute, and he doesn't compliment you, and I love that. And love you, Brandon. Thanks.
Brandon's gone all next week. On his second honeymoon, he's been married twice. So that's what I'm just telling you about Brandon.
He deserves a break from you. I'm just saying. Okay. And so, we've been talking about the teeter-totter, and we've gone over the line, and it shows you this AP report came out last week, a couple weeks ago, actually, 3 weeks ago. Number 50 in economy. We're one of 3 states that had a negative growth economy. We went backwards, and then we're the only state that had negative growth 16 and 17, 2 years in a row. We've got negative wages. We've got increasing health care. You have negative wages, increasing health care premiums. You've had 15% increases to the biggest car insurers in our state. Car and home. So, home insurance has gone up. Car insurance has gone up.
Tremendously.
Absolutely. And so you put those in. So you
healthcare.
Healthcare. So I said healthcare, car insurance, home insurance increased.
And taxes.
Taxes have increased, including sales taxes. 2 things that scare me, that absolutely scare me, and that concern me. That's what I should say. Concern me. The state, this clean penny, the state, some of that may expire. And so in some areas of the state,
a little further out.
A little further.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, my microphone's running. So in some areas of the state, what they're talking about doing, and I've heard this from several business people that are like me, and I'm going, what? Local governments, when the state regresses back, if they regress
on
back.
the 1 cent sales
yes,
tax.
on the 1 cent sales tax. So let's say, for example, here in Rapides Parish, we're going to go from 10.5 to 10. Now, I'm not Rapides Parish, at least I don't want to quote that right now, but there are entities that are looking at proposing local taxes to increase some local taxes, not here, but in a couple of different entities around the state.
It's happening in Lafayette.
Okay, and here's what
Not only they're putting the sales tax back on, they're also wanting property taxes.
Yeah, millage. Yeah, and so what they're doing is, and here's the rationale. Well, people have been used to paying 10.5.
Absolutely.
So when we go back to 10. We can implement 0.25% here and 0.25% here, and it's only going to be 10.5 what they've been paying. It's like, this is insanity. This has got to stop, Moon. And
by the way, I just got a text from somebody, Iberville Parish, doing the same thing.
Iberville Parish. There are at least a dozen parishes across our state. I'm sure there's more, but there are at least a dozen parishes. That's the rationale. Well, people, instead of saying taxes at 10.5, 11 in Monroe, 10.99 in Ouachita Parish, instead of saying taxes are excessive, thank goodness they're going backwards. When the state goes backwards, people are looking to backfill and go, how do we take what they're giving up?
You got it.
We have got to stop this.
Dallas, they're not going to stop it because the people have not demanded it. We are demanding it, but our local officials keep shoving it down our throat. It's very disheartening. Let's go back and take some numbers. By the way, everything you said, I do not live in. I know I do not live in the same area you live in, but my outreach with the program touches almost every area.
Yes.
So I've been hearing this. Now let's back up. When your GDP for 2 years is negative, gross domestic product, which is, by the way, how they measure the economy all over the country.
Right.
When for 2 years, ever since the expansion of Medicaid, I'll get to that in a minute. I have no problem helping poor people, neither do you. But ever since they expanded and called it some kind of great thing, we can't keep up with the cost.
Yeah, wait till we get the bill for Medicaid when government weans off.
Well, yeah, it's 98%, and now they're going to be paying, one day they'll be paying 70. But here's the thing. That all went together, and the government and the people in the media have bragged about it. But when your GDP and your economy is shrinking and people are moving out, you can't grab what's here and say, okay, we need to hit these people even harder locally, state, or federal government. That's the part that nobody in the media and people have not picked up. How do you keep taking from an economy that's shrinking? And then the Pelican Institute put out a deal the other day saying that if you pass a half-cent sales tax, we're going to lose another $200 million to the GDP.
Absolutely.
So my point being is, if you just took the GDP and me and you went in front of all the legislators and the governor and all these fine people in the press and said, look, the engine that drives, and I've used this as an example, if you take a train, the engine is economic development. It's private sector. It's the manufacturer.
Absolutely. It's your businesses that pay tax. Absolutely.
And the carts behind it that is pulling are all the people that go to work every day. The caboose is government. And our state, the caboose is trying to lead the charge, so the engine has to back up so the caboose can get plenty. Sooner or later, that's a collapse.
Well,
nobody's listened to you and me. Nobody. I'm talking about none of them.
Oh, absolutely. The caboose in our state is as big as can
bigger
possibly
than the engine.
get. In addition to that, the wheels have fallen off of it because people are just nuts. The wheels have fallen off of it. Now the engine's having to drag it. And pretty soon, the train is starting. Obviously, the economic shrinkage we've had, the caboose is so big, it's dragging the train. The train's slowing down.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, our train's going to run out of fuel.
Well, actually, the train's kind of going backwards. When you look at GDP, that's our economy and what it's producing. If it's shrinking, you can't have government wanting to pull more. And look, let me go there and say this. The governor, Lance Harris, you know Lance,
Absolutely.
They passed a budget that funded everything that governor sent out. All these hospitals and the ones that's in Lafayette and nursing homes all got funded. Okay, their plans were real simple. Let's pass the budget. Dallas, they passed it in the House and Senate. And the governor would have signed it, they would be working on the few things they need to fix things. But now that he vetoed it, that was a major mistake.
Let's knock out those few things and get those added, and boom, we're done with the budget.
But let me show you something. Lance Harris and them have been getting these deals. Some cuts don't heal. Cuts to health care affect all. Now, why are they focusing on Lance and the legislature when they passed a budget that funded all that? The governor vetoed it.
Because those talking points don't prove their point.
You're right.
They have to make up stuff that proves their
point. If
the
governor vetoes the budget that had you 100% funded, why are you down there getting on Lance Harris?
Because that's politics.
And by the way, the local hospital's getting on it.
It's politics.
And it doesn't make any sense because they passed a budget that would have funded it. Well, the governor don't want that.
They passed a budget that would have funded it with a commitment, we will go into special session
and fix everything else.
And fix what's not fixed. Correct.
So guess what? All these people.
Now,
I know you've been involved in hospitals, and the one by us, by the studio, has now assigned Save Our Hospital. I'm going. And then they were down in Baton Rouge. Save a hospital. Your hospital was saved by the Republicans in the legislature and the Senate, and your governor vetoed it.
Yeah.
So now we're going fuss at the legislature again? It don't make any sense to me.
I'm telling you again. I told you, stop the madness. We have gotten to the point in this state, this is madness.
I know it is.
It cannot continue.
But
we
cannot
continue
if the answer is we need to tax businesses and people more, you don't get what's going on down there. They don't understand. You do, Dallas, because you participate in the economy in a big time, and your GDP is shrinking.
Oh,
that means your economy is shrinking. Taxes should go down, not up.
Yep.
Because the engine that drives it is slowed down and stopped at this point and going backwards.
I will tell you this, that in the last 2 years when you've had shrinkage, if government would have stayed the same, it would have been annoying, but it would have been okay. But to grow government in 2 consecutive years that you had shrinkage in your GDP, your economy, your economic engine of business, that's one of the most asinine things I've seen in a long time.
Dallas, but you got to remember in the last 10 to 14 years, the state government has grown twice our economy. Even though if the economy was moving forward,
state government was
still outpacing. And why do people want this stuff to blow up and make everybody miserable for many, many years till we get out of it? Why do you have people that want to make people miserable? You see people that own government, from health care to whatever. If the economic engine fails, you think you didn't have nothing before.
Yeah.
Because the government's not going to have. We're here at Hixson Autoplex in Alexandria, 3 great locations, Leesville, Monroe, and here. But you can go on the internet, HixsonHasIt.com. HixsonHasIt.com, great people to work with on the internet as well, so you can find out a great deal for you. All right, Dallas Hixson, my special guest, of course. Dallas, the GDP and all that stuff. I told people this on Wednesday. I got the numbers of all the sales taxes right here around the country. And the governor's plan, which, by the way, the governor called a special session. I mean, leadership problem with him and Darden is really horrible. They called a special session to pass a 5-cent sales tax that failed in the committee 11-6. He can't get nothing passed. He don't have anybody helping him anymore.
I think finally, Moon, finally.
Helping him do what he wants to do, which is not right for the state.
I think finally people are starting to realize what we've been talking about for 4 years.
Let me give you an example. People don't realize this. And I'm not a John Alario. If y'all know, me and Vince Alario don't see eye to eye on nothing. But Jay Darden came in the budget the other day when the Senate was working on the budget. And he was railing against stuff. And Alario and him, not only Alario, but several of them put him in his place. He just got up and finally left. They basically told him he was ranting and raving about what they weren't funding. And Alario stopped him and said, your own executive budget didn't fund this. And you're telling us how bad we are because we're not funding what you yourself didn't fund.
Right.
They said Jay Darden looked like a little bitty, I'm talking about a little wuss. He kind of tucked his tail and ran away. Now, I'm not a big Alario guy, but in this case, even Alario woke up. Even Alario got him to pass the Senate budget. Now, here's the biggie. I talked to you about this on the air. Sales tax is 10% on average in the state of Louisiana. That's average.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is the highest in the country. If Bell Evans, who could not get his thing out of the committee, gets his way and they pass a 5-cent sales tax, it takes us from number 1 to tied for number 1.
Yeah, number 1 keeps us number 1.
Okay. Lance sent me a deal that they're working on with a 3rd-cent sales tax, 5 years. A third. And some other thing. They're cleaning up a penny and doing some stuff. It basically creates $300 and something million in taxes. Now, that's with the other taxes coming off the books. It will put the budget about 126 to 200 million less than last year. Which, by the way, remember, our economy's weakening. And he wants to put a third back on it. Now, and Lance has been one of the fighters in that right now. So I don't know that the third penny would create $291 million.
Right.
Base cleaning of 2% would create another $78 million. Basically, they would have to cut $126 million. That's it.
Right.
You'd really go back to what they tried to do last year. They tried to basically try to do 98% of the budget so they wouldn't have these problems again. It would take us back to doing 98% of the budget again.
Yes.
I remember the Dems and all of them cried about that.
Yes, correct.
So that's what they're trying to do. I don't know if that's the best thing or not. I don't know if that's good or not. I think they're going to raise some revenue. Let me back up. Raise some taxes. They keep saying revenue. I hate that word because this ain't revenue, it's taxes. But we'll have to wait and see what they do. But sales tax-wise, Dallas, I know that has a direct impact on y'all.
Oh, no doubt about it. It is. Look.
Not just y'all, but
it has been this inventory tax, the sales tax. It's devastating. I mean, it is devastated. I think a lot of our economy, but it's devastated our businesses.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is really the woe is me problems I told you would happen when we went down that slippery slope. Man, dude, we're in it. And how much more blood can you squeeze out of a turnip?
If somebody's working for the government, understand, I'm sure they're doing a good job and all that stuff. If the private economy, like this business and the rest of them, aren't doing well, Dallas, there's no tax base. There's no tax base for school teachers to fix roads, for law enforcement. There's not. And you can't keep coming back to the people wanting more money. I know in our area, they want sheriffs getting ready to try to raise the taxes. And that's frustrating to watch it. I like the sheriff. Nothing against the sheriff. It's just that's ludicrous to keep raising the taxes. By the way, it's another 3/4 cent. And we got some other people wanting property taxes. Well, I don't understand when government, who doesn't create anything, how do they get to drive the train? Because they can't drive it. If they could drive it and made the economy better.
If the economy got better, they'd collect more.
Let me tell you what Bel Air was in them
Live
said.
within your means.
The governor said
reasonable taxes. Live within your means.
Yeah.
Help participate in making our communities safe and productive. Help businesses roll forward, and everybody, the businesses will do better. Their employees will do better.
And it creates a tax base.
It creates jobs. It creates tax base. They will collect more taxes. Government will make more when businesses do better.
But if government in our state has been growing twice our
that's insane. Can't do that.
Twice our economy, we're getting ready to see something that people don't want to see here.
Yes.
It doesn't work that way. And if it worked that way, we ought to have the best economy.
We're going to be in the greatest economy in our country in decades, and Louisiana is going to be in an additional recession.
$100 barrel of oil, we might not participate in the oil thing at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I got to take a break. Be right back.
You got Hixson.
Hello, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show on the road again. Alexandria, Louisiana, in conjunction with our friends at Sindler Broadcasting, KSYL 970 AM, and, of course, our good friends at Sindler Broadcasting, and, of course, Dallas Hixson, Hixson Autoplex. HixsonHasIt.com, HixsonHasIt.com. Of course, our Hixson Has It hotline is always ready for you, 844-766-6607. Before I get back with Dallas, and Dallas, I'm going to cut you off a second because I do want to talk more about solutions. I got Jeremy Stein joins us now because Stein is having a great Memorial Day sale, tax-free weekend is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and it's always a sale on a sale because they're going to pay all the taxes. Then they sent out this phenomenal brochure. You can go to steinhome.com and check it out if you didn't get one. And there are sales on sales, and I'll let Jeremy talk a little bit more about it. Jeremy, how you doing, bud?
Doing great, Moon. Good morning to you. Great to be here.
Great to have you with us, Jeremy.
I also want to tell you, I'm David Stein's son. Don't hold that against me now.
No, so, you don't have to worry about that. I'm not going to talk bad about David or Dennis at this point. We can do that at lunch one day.
There you go. That sounds great. Well, listen, you're right. That's a sell on top of a sell. I just want to tell you real quick, with the legislature being in session, trying to raise your taxes, we got a new slogan for you this week. You ready?
Go ahead.
We won't raise your taxes. We will pay your taxes.
Well, you know what? Not many companies will say that, but in all fairness, it's exactly what y'all doing. But it's still a sale on a sale. You're gonna pay the taxes. But if somebody's looking for the big items and the big ticket items,
that's right.
Then they need to go check out the sales.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me get through real quick what we got going on. We got the Steel Dealer Days. If you know anything about power equipment, you know that steel is the real deal when it comes to power equipment. It's all tax-free, and it's the Steel Dealer Days. So you're getting $10, $20, $30 off already from steel. Plus, you're not going to pay your sales tax at Stein's, and that's going to, again, this Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for 3 days. So we got that going on. We also got Husqvarna Zero Turns You can save over $300 because we're paying your tax on these zero turns. These zero turns are Husqvarna. We got a special $28.99 on the 26 horsepower 54-inch zero turn. That's going to run you right at $3,000, and we're paying your tax, so you're saving right at $300 there, Moon. We've also got your Generac generators. We know they're calling for one of the heaviest, largest hurricane seasons coming up. We've got the Generac generator for $47.99. We're paying your tax, so you're saving almost $500 right there. Of course, everybody outside, we've got 5 for $10 on your mulch, tax-free. Everything's tax-free. That's a great deal right there. 5 for $10 on your mulch. Let's see, grilling. Moon, everybody's grilling right now with Memorial Day. We got your big green egg, $1,000. You save $100 on your big green egg, and it's all tax-free. We've got 2 great deals for you, Moon. All paint department. We've got your select Clark & Kensington, Valspar, and Royal Paint. Save up to 30% off. Talking about sale, you said earlier, sale on top of a sale, 30% off your paint, and it's tax-free as well. Sorry to keep rambling, Moon, but we got lots of specials. Last one we got here, up to 40% off on appliances, and again, that's all tax-free. And Moon, we're known real quick. We're known for convenience when it comes to our lumber. Why? Because we've got a drive-through lumber yard, and it's all tax-free on every single stick of lumber. Everything is tax-free.
Yeah, Jeremy, if you really look at it, somebody wanting to do stuff around the house, add on, you've been wanting to paint, put new flooring in, whatever, you got these gigantic sales going on. So not only will they save on the sale, I mean, not to pay the sales tax on $3,000 and $4,000 and $5,000, and you into 10%, which is what we average around the state of Louisiana. I mean, on $5,000, I mean, you're going to save $500 on $5,000, not to mention the sales that you had. So it's all happening this weekend at Stein, and it's Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And they go to steinhome.com. I know your brochures went to a lot of people, but I think you can go to the website and pick it up as well before they even go to the store this Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
That's right, steinhome.com, and you got it. You can look at all the sales that we've got at steinhome.com. We've got our circular right there on the website. Check out all the sales on top of the sale because it's all tax-free this Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Yeah, don't worry about it, folks. Make sure you tell Jeremy you love him despite his dad.
That's right.
All righty, Jeremy Stein. That's Stein this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Going to pay all your taxes. They're trying to raise them in Baton Rouge. These people are trying to pay for them. I mean, that's a pretty neat slogan. Jeremy, God bless. Thank you, man.
God bless, Moon. Thanks so much.
All right, that's Jeremy Stein. Stein, big sale this weekend starting tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And it's going to be booming, folks. So if you're out and about and you're really looking for stuff, spruce up your house, your camp, whatever you want to do, here's an opportunity for you to get some really, really good deals. Those guys are great Louisiana company. I think they got about 800 to 1,000 people working for them. So they got a location in Mississippi. And by the way, the location in Mississippi, they're going to pay the sales taxes there too. So you're clean, folks. They're ready to roll for you. All right, 844-766-6607. Hixson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program, your opportunity to be a voice. And other news, and by the way, I love the news I'm getting ready to tell you. The Americas for Prosperity has come out with a list. They're working on it now. Taker's dozen. These are 12 representatives or senators who claim to be conservative, but have voted for one tax after another. Okay, and some people try to be controversial with this. It's really simple. The first one they selected, rightfully so, was Representative Mark Abraham. Mark Abraham voted for business taxes, sales taxes, every tax known to mankind. And so they listed him first on this list of, and basically people, I guess they're going to challenge when it comes election time. These are people that just constantly vote for taxes, say one thing and do something else. So the first one they got was Mark Abraham. And I've been telling y'all about him anyway. He really doesn't like conservatives. He likes Republicans, middle of roaders. The second one is somebody I've been telling y'all about big time. The Taker's dozen rep is Julie Stokes. I call her Nancy Pelosi. She's been tied up with the governor. She has thrown arrows at Republicans. She has thrown arrows at conservatives, not really Republicans. She has constantly went with the governor and voted for all these taxes. So Julie Stokes is the second one. Stokes not only voted for today's tax hike in the committee, she supported higher taxes on individuals. She's voted for higher taxes on businesses in the past, including raising the gas tax for DOTD. And she constantly votes for all these additional taxes. So Julie Stokes is number two, Mark Abraham and Julie Stokes. Now, let me tell you what happened. They tried to make it controversial. As you know, Julie Stokes had breast cancer. She was going to run for treasurer. She has now recovered from breast cancer, which we said we need to pray for Julie. And I pray not only is she healed from cancer by the grace of God, I pray she lives to be 90. I hope to God she has a great family and they love each other. That's awesome. But what happened is when Americans for Taxpayers quoted and named her, guess what happened? People started saying they picking on a lady with breast cancer. It's sexist. This is sexist, kind of like what we did with Obama. It's sexist. She's been breast cancer. I can't believe they picking on somebody who had breast cancer. Now, let me tell you why this is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Number one is it has nothing to do with whether you're a woman or a man. They don't care if you're black or white, Republican or Democrat. If you took 10 voting records and just laid the voting records out there, I can tell you if I can support them or not. And that's what they did. But when they named Julie Stokes, now you got a group out there called the Purple something that is now saying that with American Purple Coalition, what that is, we're not conservative, we're not liberal, we're in the middle. You know, that's the ones when they go down the interstate, I drive to the right, and the left drives to the left. They want to be able to drive right down the middle of the road and wreck everybody. Wreck the right, wreck the left, wreck everything. That's the middle of the road coalition. So this coalition came out, and I gotta pull this up and let y'all know what they said, because this right here is unbelievable. The Purple Coalition, that's the ones that want to drive the vehicles right down the middle. They said that Taylor Barra is ineffective speaker, hard right of the LAGOP, wants to kindly get rid of him by sending him to Secretary of State Island. Stokes is standing in the way of their plane. They're attacking, listen, a recent breast cancer survivor. That's not what they're doing. They're putting Julie Stokes' voting record out there. That's it. They're putting her voting record out there. They're letting her know. Then they made a comment that 144 legislators and you pick on one woman battling breast cancer because you know you can't control her. They didn't pick on this woman, who's, by the way, closer to Nancy Pelosi than anybody. They didn't pick on her because she had breast cancer. They didn't pick on her because she was a woman. They looked at her voting record. That's how you realize in the legislature or any political position, your voting record is who you are, not who you say you are. Julie Stokes, Nancy Pelosi, you could change the names up as I often do because there's not much difference. She's been a Belle Edward sycophant for a while. The left media is saying the AFP is a sexist because they're attacking her tax voting record, and also saying attacking her as a cancer victim. None of that's true. She has a voting record. Here's a horrible voting record, and they're putting it out there. Great call on pick number 2 in Julie Stokes. Let's take a break, Dallas. Just chill out. I cut him off. I turned his mic off, and I didn't let you talk that segment. Julie Stokes is not being attacked. Julie Stokes' voting record is who she is. She's Nancy Pelosi. Not because she's a woman. This was the Purple Coalition. Crank it up now, brother. Crank it up. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. Crank it up. All right, Dallas, here's the big one for you. Talked about some solutions.
Okay.
Your business, you're pretty good-sized business in the state. You really are, compared to most, you're pretty good-sized business. Yep. Tell us, give us some things that you think we have to do at this point. You can be specific as you can be, or in general. What are some things? Now, we talked about being the best business state, but what are some things for you? Now, by the way, this not the state to cut you a check. We're not going there. What can we do to make it where you can now go out there and do it, and everybody can be in the same level playing field?
I think we have to roll back some of these previous tax increases. I think not necessarily right now, but I think at some point very soon we're going to have a constitutional convention.
I'm against that, but go ahead.
No, I understand.
But we got the same reasons.
Yeah,
we want the same solution.
And the reason why somebody wouldn't want a constitutional convention is because in our state we can't. I'm talking about generalities.
Go ahead.
Based on previous history, we can't trust politicians in our state. Just generalities. And therefore, you can't trust a constitutional convention because you never know what you're going to get. And it may end up worse, and it could be. So I understand that.
Well, by the way, my biggest beef with it, besides CB never was for it.
Yeah.
But my biggest beef with it is they want the 2/3 vote on taxes and fees to go down to majority. Yep. Can you imagine with this group?
No, I understand.
You see what I'm saying? So you are correct.
No,
and look, and by the way, I understand.
I'm saying in a perfect world, handled correctly, in which
you think it would be great.
You and I both know that may not happen. I think we have to take a look at our neighbors, and I'm talking about internally to roll back some of the taxes. We've got to create an environment where we can actually hire people, do well, and have income that's disposable that we can spend to do things in our state, which will grow our economy.
By the way, I'm standing up because I like looking down.
Yeah, no worries. And so I think we need to look at our neighbors. I think we need to look at the template of our neighbors to see Louisiana's not a closed cell. We're losing college kids because we don't have college graduates because we don't have jobs for them. So look at what other people, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Look at the people next door to us in Mississippi or Arkansas or especially Texas. Look at what they're doing to have an economic engine that generates jobs. And we can pattern some things off of what they're doing. We don't have to be them. I don't want to be Texas.
But you know something you mentioned about universities, and we talk about them a lot, but let me just be honest. We've got some good universities.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of teaching going on, a lot of learning going on. I know that, but Dallas, the one problem we have that nobody wants to address, well, you have too many. It's hard to fund that many. Now, if you want to keep them all, that's fine.
We have more
but you have to downsize some and say, okay, this university is going to do this, this university is going to do this. And if you start doing and tighten them up, okay, you won't have as many students, you won't have this, but you'll be what you need to be in our state.
That's
example, and make sure I'm saying this right, and I see a guy over here can correct me. ULM has been known as a nursing school. Is that correct? And a pharmacy school.
That's true. Absolutely.
Okay, so maybe that's what they ought to be focusing on mostly. I'm just using them as an example. I know tech is
engineering.
Engineering. I was going to say engineering, among other things, but that was a little. No, seriously. But what I'm saying is you got 3 universities right there. Maybe they all need to specialize in something. That don't mean they can't do other things too. But if you narrow it down and trim it up, it won't be so expensive. And everybody can keep their universities without having the mega universities because we can't afford to fund what we have based on our economy and where jobs are.
Yep.
You can't.
I agree.
So I wanted to mention education because everybody thinks I'm so hard on them. I'm just hard on the money that we have to spend, and we can't afford it. Our economy doesn't create enough money to have 4 universities when Florida has 10 or 12. Doesn't make any sense to me. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, I think that as you compare, we have to make changes. This is going to sound stupid, but I mean this. I would rather us have a higher tax base than the surrounding states, but leave it the same for longevity and have stability than to keep bumping things up and down and up and down. In other words, don't lower it way down and then come back up 2 years from now and then lower it down and come back up. Whatever you think you need, make it static. Be competitive, but make it static where it doesn't change, so that people can look at the state of Louisiana and know, I can count on this is how they're going to do business.
Okay, you touched upon something that you know a lot about, and what I mean it sincerely. We in Louisiana have changed the rules
every
day. We never know what business is going to get a break and what didn't. We never know what we're going to do at university. We reform education every day.
Yeah.
We change the rules so much,
it's
hard for businesses to get a grip because when you're planning, I guarantee
we're going to raise personal income tax. We're going to lower it. We're going to have the Stelly plan. We're not going to have the Stelly plan.
You know, it's a good example of this.
We're going to allow federal deductions and not allow federal deductions.
You know, it's another great thing. When one governor was in, we had helmets for motorcycles. The next governor came in, he took the helmets off for motorcycles. The next governor came in, we put the helmets back on.
Right.
The next governor came in, we took them back off.
Yep.
You know what? That sounds silly, helmet. But you just named 4 or 5 things we do that with all the time.
It shows an absolute lack of stability amongst our state.
I'll tell you what, you really, I ain't going to say stumbled.
And what's interesting is
you came across it.
You can't even count on the fact of Democrat or Republican. In other words, you can't say, well, the Democrats always do this and the Republicans always do that.
Not here.
It bounces around where this Republican governor does it, then that Republican governor doesn't, and this Democratic governor doesn't, that one doesn't. And so we're unstable not only based on Democrat, Republican, or independent. We're unstable amongst whoever might be in power, no matter what their affiliation is with a party. We need stability in our state. If we had stability and we had competitive taxes,
you're right,
we would be in a position where we would be competitive to hold people here and create jobs.
You can't have a 10% sales tax and people around you got 8 and 8.
Yeah, or 5 3/4. Absolutely.
No, you can't. You can't have state income taxes in a couple of states close, so you have none.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? Even though we got homestead exemption.
We certainly can't have state income taxes and other states bordering us have none, and we go ahead and take the one we already have and raise it. I mean, it's crazy.
That's definitely. But see, that's what I was saying. I wanted to say you stumbled across it. You did stumble across it because you already knew it.
Yeah.
We changed so much up. It makes, remember you told me one time about gas prices? You wish they would just hold it a certain amount because it makes it easier selling vehicles and knowing what to order. When gas prices go from $4 to $1.20 back to $3, that's not good.
No.
Well, it's not good what they do in the state government.
We want stability. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
good
thank
point.
you.